I've decided to do something that I never really thought that I would partake in. And it's really weird for me to even kind of think about it or talk about it, but I've decided to try some clicker training with my horses. And I don't even know how I feel about it, even just like saying it, because I've always kind of looked at it as being very cringy, frou-frou kind of stuff. But I've been watching some YouTube videos, and some of the methods of positive reinforcement / clicker training. I don't know. It's always made me feel kind of cringy, as you can probably tell by the look on my face as I've been talking about it for this like 1 minute. And I think that because I have such a strong kind of knee-jerk reaction to it, that I owe it to myself and my horses to play with it and see what happens. So yeah, I'm gonna try it. I've been interested to see how it's gonna play out with Stark, because he's a pushy turd about treats. In all other respects, he's awesome. He's pretty impatient. He's starting to have lots of separation anxiety from Mazzy, but it's not like if I take Stark away, I can't do stuff with him. It's more like if I take Mazzy away from him, he has an absolute temper tantrum, hissy fit, come apart. But I can take him off. Like, we went for a very short hack the other day along the road, and he did fine besides being scared of a fake rock. I played with it a little bit with him, and I was first letting him associate the noise with the reward. And then instead of just giving him a cookie, for mugging me, I waited until he would turn away and click and give him a cookie. And then I ended up doing, like, walking a few steps away, calling him, and when he would come to me, if he would just barely turn his head away from me, he would get the cookie. That way he's not gonna learn to like mug people for cookies, because I cannot stand when they do that, and that's a great way to get bitten. I got a book on it that I've been reading. Well, I've been reading the free samples of 2 books because I don't want to spend the money on it yet if it's not something that I might stick with. My actual clicker is going to be coming in the mail tomorrow. So for the time being, I downloaded this really annoying app on my phone, and it looks like this. Perfect, it's a cookie. Or it's a clicker, whatever. So here we're gonna start with basic manners that I'm gonna try to kind of instill in Mazzy. The goal is, as she turns her head away, I'm gonna click and reward her for not being in my space and mugging me for food. When you first start this, if you have a horse that you just know is going to be excessively pushy or rude, you can do this from what they call protected contact, which would mean you either do it from the other side of a fence, or you would do it from outside of a stall door or a stall guard, that sort of thing, so that you have a physical barrier between you and the horse. And if the horse gets rude or tries to bite or anything like that, you just step back until they chill out, and then you can reward it. One thing that I really want to mention here that I kept doing over and over again that's driving me nuts is you're not supposed to preload your hand to deliver the treats. So you don't reach for your treats until you click. Otherwise, reaching for the treats themselves can become a marker signal instead of the click. So it's really important you don't preload your hand for cookies. And I do it a lot in this video because I was just starting out and I didn't know any better. So just make sure that you know you're really not supposed to do that. You always feed your horse away from your body and in the head position that you'd like for them to have ideally. Oh my gosh, she's so slobbery. And now it's Stark's turn, and this is not his first session with manners, and it's important to keep in mind he is a very different type of horse than Mazzy. Mazzy is very introverted, and Stark is in the middle of everything that he can be in the middle of. So with that being said, with Stark, it's really important that I reward him when he chills the heck out about stuff instead of being super amped up and ready, because otherwise that can turn into all of our sessions becoming like a crazy hectic sort of a thing, and you don't want that with any horse with any type of training probably. And here what you see is he's trying to manually grab the food basically out of the bucket, and I'm not worried about him biting me. With another horse I would have done this in protected contact, but again, it's not his first session, and I've had him since he was a baby, so he's not gonna bite me, he's just gonna lip me and maybe lick me. So I'm just letting him explore that option to figure out that's not how you get food. You get food from getting your head out of my space and kind of relaxing and waiting for it. And then next I moved on to a little bit of target training. I'm just gonna show a short clip of it here. Targeting is super useful for ground tying, teaching them to load, all sorts of things. I mean, there's so many applications with it, and it's very similar to the whole touch it game. Again, so much horse slobber. That's so good. So, I have continued to use clicker training. I've actually been doing about 2 sessions a day. I'm actually a little addicted to it, if you want to call it that, or obsessed with it, whichever works. It's going really well. Stark is not mugging me for food anymore, and it's actually interesting. Mazzy has come out of her shell a lot. Like, I thought before it was just that she's an introvert, and she is, but she wants to engage with me a heck of a lot more than she did when I was using kind of my natural horsemanship stuff that I know, and I'm still applying that and using the clicker with a lot of it, but it's definitely changed the way that she's viewing me, which is really cool. I would like, with Stark, to work on some more complex behaviors as he learns kind of a foundation in all of this stuff. So one of the things is going to be his patience. I've learned about the tree of patience, and it's not that it doesn't work, it's just that long term it doesn't seem like the lessons from the tree of patience really stick with him. And I'm not making excuses for him. I can stick him on a tree and, you know, eventually he chills out and stops being a goober. But he's starting to be a lot more patient without me having to stick him on a tree and just leave him there. And I really like the way that it feels for me to train like this. The other thing I'd like to work on with him is his separation anxiety with Mazzy. I think I talked about it in the beginning of this video, where if Mazzy leaves, like if I take her and go do a session with her on like 2-line driving or something, he throws a hissy fit in his stall and bites the walls and screams and just paces around and around and around. And I haven't been able to fix it with tree of patience, or just leaving him, or tying him in one spot, or any of the other stuff that traditionally I've been taught to do. Not that it might not work for other horses, but it's just not sticking with him, and I feel bad when I do it. So even like if I had Stark and say I let Mazzy out of her stall and then went to go play with Stark, he still like would not be able to focus on me. He was so laser focused on where is Mazzy, what's she doing. I don't know exactly what went through his mind, but he was not cool with it. And so now I can let her out, and he still gets a little bit anxious. Not like he had been. There's no screaming, there's no pacing. There might be one circle with his head kind of raised up high in the stall, but I'll open the stall door, and he walks up to me, puts his head down, and then chills until I give him his treat, or whatever you want to call it. It's all the same stuff. Technically, it's called a reinforcer. So I give him his cookie, and then he chills. And he hangs out there with me until I ask him to do something else. Or if he gets bored, he'll offer something to me. So what I've been doing is taking him to a little, like, 1.5 by 3-foot stall mat that I've got out in front of my tack room. So I take him over there, ask him to step his 2 front feet on it, and I groom him, and I am reinforcing him pretty much the whole time, periodically, building up the duration between the reinforcers and the clicking. And I want to add that this whole time that I'm working with him, he's free to leave anytime he wants, and Mazzy's not there, and he stays with me. It's freaking cool. And I'm really amazed with it. Today I worked on with Stark. He's never been a big fan of fly spray or of like getting hosed off. Even if it's super, super hot outside, he can't stand the cold water. And I've had him ever since he was a baby. I mean, any bad habits he has, either I have caused or it's some sort of innate personality trait that maybe could be shaped differently, I guess is the way you could say it. So with Stark today, I had him ground tie or target train, they're both kind of the same thing, onto my little stall mat, and I was reinforcing him for standing, and then I added the hose, and when he didn't move, and initially it was like really short duration, like put the hose on his leg, click, treat. Take the hose up to his shoulder, click, treat. Let him stand there for a second, click, treat. I mean, it was a lot of it, but he didn't move once. There was one moment where I ran out of cubes in my pocket or my holder thing, and so I left him ground tied to go grab some more cookies out of the tack room, and he kind of left, went to investigate some stuff, and then went back and looked at me like, okay, cookie, please, thank you. And he didn't flinch from the water hose. He let me spray his face, which he has never done. He's always been, he hates it. And he seemed to actually enjoy getting a bath today. I kind of don't know what to think of it exactly yet. So I'm definitely going to keep after it. I might even try to incorporate some clicker training into starting Mazzy. I was going to say starting her under saddle, but I'm not sure that I'm going to have her in a saddle the first few times I climb on her back. She just looks like she's going to be really comfy to ride bareback, and Stark is not, so I'm really excited to have a horse that may actually be comfy to ride bareback. So I'm going to ride her bareback. I think I talked about that in Mazzy's video. So that's kind of the gist. Thank you for watching my video today. I hope you've enjoyed it and I didn't bore the heck out of you with me blabbing on and on about this clicker training stuff. It's definitely a little different. I'm super excited about it. I can't remember the last time I've been this excited about horsey stuff, aside from maybe when I was first learning to utilize some of the natural horsemanship approaches. And I mean, that really says a lot right there. I think if I could say one thing to people out there who kind of write it off as a bunch of hippie crap, or who maybe want to try it but aren't sure, or if I could go back in time and tell myself, give it a try. It's really fun. It's challenging in a much different yet similar way. A lot of it has to do with the timing and the delivery of the reinforcers and things like that, but give it a try. Don't just write it off as a bunch of hippie mumbo jumbo. I mean, it's not some frou-frou thing. I haven't figured out yet the way to pair it with riding, but I will. And of course I will keep you up to date and notified and all that fun stuff. So I hope everyone has a really great week. I hope your week ahead is fabulous. And I really appreciate you watching. If you want to, click subscribe, like the video, leave me comments on it. Let me know what you think. If you think I've just completely gone off the deep end and I'm a full-fledged hippie now, let me know. That's cool. Alright, bye guys.